I want a divorce. I've met someone who actually brings joy to my life. The message appeared on my screen while I was immersed in verifying a client's encryption protocols. My name is Marcus Reed. I'm 47 and work as a cybersecurity analyst for Nexus Global in Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania. My wife, Elaine, was supposed to be attending a digital marketing summit in Chicago. For days, she'd said. Standard procedure. My phone vibrated again. I've already moved our retirement savings to my separate account. Keep the house. I won't need it where I'm going. I set down my coffee mug, opened my banking app, and checked our balances. Something was already wrong, but not what she anticipated. I typed back, I wish you happiness in your new life. That was it. No arguments, no begging. Just 6 simple words. I spent the following hour watching transactions update across 4 different monitoring dashboards, systems I'd personally designed. Every joint account we shared ran through integrated security monitoring, something I'd built from scratch. Retirement investments. Emergency reserves. Even the checking account Elaine believed was exclusively hers. When she initiated those transfers, she triggered multiple security protocols. The system wasn't concerned with emotions or marital status. It identified 6-figure movements without proper dual verification. Federal security measures are engaged automatically. By midday, my phone was illuminated with notifications. Not from Elaine, but from the receiving institution. Account review initiated. Deposits frozen. Pending investigation. I didn't grin. Didn't celebrate. Just dismissed the alerts and returned to my work. Someone else's digital security required my expertise. Elaine's phone would begin alerting her soon enough. She'd attempt to access the money only to discover her balance at zero. The system shows no mercy for poor decisions. I'd witnessed this repeatedly when monitoring accounts freeze during suspicious activity investigations. Money doesn't concern itself with love, betrayal, or timing. It adheres to protocols. And Elaine had just violated them all. We'd been married for 19 years. High school sweethearts from Greenfield. I was always the analytical one, calculating batting averages for the high school team, monitoring our class fundraising efforts. Dollar by dollar. Elaine was the social connector. Everything a marketing executive should be. Charismatic, convincing, always networking. You're too meticulous with finances, she'd comment after I'd quadruple-checked our investment allocations. Someone needs to be, I'd reply. It functioned well for years. I managed our finances while she built her career at Summit Digital Group. She traveled frequently. Workshops in Boston. Conferences in Seattle. Always networking. Always for the company. The warning signs emerged gradually, like fog creeping across a lake. 7 months ago, she stopped inquiring about our retirement projections. For months back, she opened a new credit card without mentioning it first. 3 weeks prior, she'd remarked that our home office was too crowded. Who actually works from home anymore anyway? My brother had noticed during Easter dinner. She seems detached. Just work pressures. Deadline stress, I'd explained. But Elaine wasn't stressed. She was strategizing. While I maintained our integrated financial security system, something I developed after a client lost millions to undetected intrusions, she'd been studying its vulnerabilities. Except my system had no vulnerabilities. Every account connected, every transfer monitored. Not from suspicion, from habit. From years of detecting client security breaches and understanding how money moves when people don't want it tracked. Monday evening, before departing for Chicago, she'd shown unusual interest in our retirement balances. How much do we have? In total, she'd asked over dinner. About $950,000 between our accounts, I'd replied. Why? Just wondering. Now that curiosity made perfect sense. She'd been calculating her escape plan. I considered calling her sister, her closest friend Rebecca, my own siblings. But what would I say? Your sister tried to steal our retirement and got caught by security algorithms? It sounded absurd, like television drama material. Instead, I prepared dinner for myself, watched the evening news, reviewed the alerts once more. The transfers remained frozen. The security investigation would require 5 to 7 business days before releasing or returning the funds. Elaine had gambled on immediacy, hoping to access everything before I noticed, before the system processed it. She'd forgotten that throughout our years together, I'd never once neglected a financial detail. The call came Thursday morning at 10:15. Marcus, my cards aren't working. Her voice carried that edge I recognized from conference calls when her pitches went sideways. Controlled panic disguised as mild irritation. What's your balance showing? 0. How is it 0? I was correct about that. I heard her exhale. Then silence. What did you do? Nothing, I said truthfully. The security system flagged unusual transfers from protected retirement accounts. Federal regulations mandate review for large withdrawals without proper joint authorization. More silence. How long? 5 to 7 business days. Possibly longer if they identify irregularities. She disconnected. I sat in my home office examining the security alerts, sipping my coffee. Something fundamental had shifted within me. Not anger. Not betrayal, exactly. Just clarity. For 19 years, I protected our financial future. Saved methodically. Invested prudently. Built systems to identify problems before they materialized. And the woman I'd done it all for had decided to take everything and vanish. But the money wasn't what wounded me. It was the efficiency of her betrayal. Text message. Transfer. Goodbye. Like finalizing a corporate acquisition. I reviewed our investment portfolio minus Elaine's attempted transfers. Our retirement accounts remained untouched. The house purchased 6 years ago for $375,000, now valued near $600,000. My moderate stocks held in individual accounts, our treasury bonds. Everything remained intact, protected by protocols I'd established while she traveled to networking events. My phone displayed 31 messages from Elaine by Friday afternoon. I didn't read them. What remained to discuss? The divorce attorney I consulted Saturday was understanding but direct. File now. Document everything. The attempted financial misconduct will strengthen your position. I filed Monday morning. Straightforward paperwork, no support requests, no division of unaffected assets. Just dissolution. The house remained in my name. I hadn't touched our joint checking account. Let it remain with its $4,200 balance. Elaine could access that portion immediately. Reality settled in. I wasn't vindictive. Never had been. But I wasn't gullible either. The same systems I'd constructed to protect clients at Nexus Global had protected me. Banking algorithms don't concern themselves with marriage vows. They focus on patterns, authorization, compliance. And Elaine had violated every protocol while believing she was being strategic. I went to work, ate lunch at my desk, and analyzed security breaches. The irony wasn't lost on me. Weekend arrived. I reorganized the home office Elaine had complained about, donated her unused equipment, and packed away photographs. Not from resentment, from pragmatism. The life I'd known had ended with a text message, but the systems I'd implemented had persisted. Sometimes the most effective contingencies are those you hope never to need, and sometimes they rescue you without any conscious effort. Elaine hired Caroline Winters as her attorney. I knew Caroline from community fundraisers, always discussing exceptions and interpretations. They filed a motion claiming I deliberately manipulated the account freeze. Your husband utilized his specialized technical knowledge to undermine marital assets, the document stated. I met with my own lawyer, Michael Abrams, at Ridgeview Legal, former security specialist himself. He read the motion and smiled faintly. They're pursuing a sabotage angle, he shook his head. Bold approach. When the security alerts were automated system responses, not manual interventions. The hearing was scheduled for 2 weeks later. Meanwhile, Elaine called the house 24 times Sunday evening. I finally answered. Marcus, you need to contact the bank. Tell them the transfers were authorized. I'm stranded here. Where's here? Seattle. I'm staying with colleagues. Seattle isn't Chicago. Silence, then, it's complicated. I'm certain it is. Did you call your conference coordinator? Your director said. Andrew, don't start. Just inquiring. Since you're supposedly at a corporate event. Click. Monday revealed interesting developments. My security monitoring systems identified something new. Elaine had attempted to establish credit cards using our shared address for applications in 3 days. All rejected due to the pending fraud investigation. She was caught in a financial constraint of her own creation. No accessible funds, credit frozen, travel limited to whatever cash she had available. Tuesday, Caroline contacted me directly. This situation is becoming problematic, Marcus. Your wife requires basic living expenses. She's welcome to use the joint checking account. $4,200 remains untouched. That's hardly adequate. It's what we've always maintained for contingencies. She considered $950,000 adequate to transfer without discussion. Caroline ended the call. Wednesday brought revelation through unexpected channels. Andrew Kelly, Elaine's supervisor at Summit, called. "Have you spoken with Elaine recently? Was she actually at our Chicago conference? HR has no record of her registration. I considered protecting her, lying instead. You'd need to ask her directly. She hasn't responded to my messages. We've noticed discrepancies in her expense reports as well." My stomach tightened. Not merely personal betrayal. Professional misconduct, too. "I can't comment on that." "Understood. But if she contacts you, never mind." "Thanks, Marcus." The investigation expanded. Bank representatives contacted me directly. "Sir, we've identified multiple unusual transfers between corporate and personal accounts spanning the past 14 months, all originating from the same device signature. Elaine hadn't merely stolen from us. She'd been diverting company funds. My carefully constructed life collapsed entirely. Every foundation I'd relied upon, marriage, trust, basic integrity, appeared compromised. But I hadn't driven her toward deception. I'd simply built systems that detected it when it occurred. Thursday morning, Caroline filed an emergency petition for Elaine's living expenses. The judge scheduled an immediate hearing for Friday. I prepared methodically printed statements, security alerts, and historical transfer patterns. My analytical training is engaged. Evidence communicates more effectively than accusations. The night before the hearing, Elaine texted, "I never wanted things to end like this." I didn't respond. Apologies following attempted theft felt hollow. Friday arrived damp and overcast. At the courthouse, I saw Elaine for the first time since her conference departure. She looked diminished somehow. Drawn. "Why?" she whispered in the corridor. "Why? Why what? Why did I notice? Why did the system function? Why did you attempt to take everything?" She offered no response. The hearing lasted 25 minutes. The judge reviewed the security reports, noted the automated nature of the holds, and ruled that access to joint checking was sufficient for immediate needs during the investigation. Elaine departed empty-handed. Her scheme had ensnared her instead. The following Monday, I received an unexpected visitor. Victoria Lambert, an investigator from Northern Financial Security, appeared at my office. "Mr. Reed, we've uncovered evidence of systematic fraud involving your wife and several corporate accounts. We need your expertise." "I'm not involved." "We understand. That's precisely why we need your assistance." Over coffee in our conference room, Victoria revealed the scope. Elaine hadn't acted independently. Christopher Hayes, another executive at Summit Digital, had helped establish a sophisticated network of transfers. They've been redirecting corporate marketing budgets into personal accounts for nearly 2 years. Your security system triggered multiple alerts that prompted us to audit their entire department. How substantial? Preliminary assessment, $1.8 million. Across various accounts. I felt nauseated. While I'd been tracking our personal finances meticulously, my wife had been orchestrating a corporate embezzlement operation. The betrayal ran deeper than a failed marriage. What happens now? Federal investigation. Your personal accounts are already being separated from the business fraud case. But we require documentation demonstrating your lack of knowledge or involvement. I provided everything. Tax filings. Personal financial statements. The complete audit trail from my own monitoring systems. Every piece of evidence confirming I'd constructed these protocols for protection, not to facilitate theft. Elaine texted that evening. "They're saying federal charges. They're claiming I took millions." I didn't respond. What could I possibly say? Tuesday brought more revelations. Our real estate agent, Daniel Morrison, called about unusual inquiries. "Someone's been asking about listing your house quickly. Pre-approved cash buyer at $375,000. $375,000? The original purchase price. 6 years ago. Christopher Hayes made these inquiries." "How do you know that name?" The pieces aligned. Elaine and Christopher hadn't merely stolen money. They'd been planning to purchase our house at its original value through a shell buyer. Flip it for the current market value of $600,000. Pocket the difference. A complete exit strategy disguised as a property transaction. Wednesday, I met with Detective Lauren Morgan from the Pittsburgh Financial Crimes Division. She confirmed the pattern. They targeted properties owned by corporate employees. Created artificial pressure to force below-market sales. Your system detected transfer anomalies that exposed the entire scheme. How many victims? 15 families so far. Your case provides the clearest evidence trail. I thought of those 15 families. People like me who trusted, who planned diligently, who followed regulations while others discovered ways around them. Thursday, Elaine's attempt to access the frozen funds through an emergency court order failed. Her lawyer requested a meeting. Your client needs to prepare for a federal indictment, Michael Abrams explained. The investigation has expanded beyond marital assets. Caroline appeared shaken. Federal wire fraud conspiracy. Possible racketeering charges if they establish an ongoing enterprise. Elaine would face significant incarceration, not just for stealing from me, but for the systematic theft from her employer and coordinated property fraud. That evening, I forwarded all my financial documentation to the U.S. Attorney's Office. Every security alert, every monitoring log, every piece of evidence my systems had collected. I hadn't constructed those systems for retribution, but they'd uncovered a crime far greater than personal betrayal. Justice doesn't emerge from anger. It arises from facts, from patterns, from systems designed to illuminate truth. And sometimes truth devastates more than just marriages. I testified before the grand jury Thursday morning. Clear, factual. No emotion in my delivery as I explained how my financial monitoring systems operated. The automated alerts triggered at 2:45 a.m. when transfers exceeded established thresholds. No human intervention required. The prosecutor appreciated the technical precision. Did you ever access your wife's accounts without permission? No. The system monitored joint accounts only. I built it to identify unusual patterns in our shared finances. 2 hours of testimony, details about every alert, every security protocol, how the system distinguished normal from suspicious activity. Elaine's potential sentence became clearer. The U.S. Attorney's Office outlined charges, multiple counts of wire fraud, conspiracy, and embezzlement. 15 years minimum if convicted. After testimony, I drove directly to my office at Nexus Global. My team director, Sophia Chin, had been managing inquiries all week. Federal investigators say they need our complete systems audit. Everything Elaine had access to. We spent Friday converting 3 years of financial data. Every login, every transaction, every access point Elaine had utilized to construct her scheme. None of us anticipated this, Sophia said quietly. Nobody did. That's why these systems exist. The weekend brought unexpected tranquility. Federal investigators seized Elaine and Christopher's devices, accounts, and external storage. The evidence accumulated hourly. Sunday afternoon, Caroline called. Marcus. Elaine wants to offer information about larger financial crimes. She's prepared to identify accomplices if charges are reduced. That's between her and the prosecutors. They might inquire about marital reconciliation as character witness material. I considered it carefully. Tell them our marriage ended when she attempted to steal our retirement. The rest is just data. Monday, I received formal notification. The investigation regarding marital assets was complete. All retirement funds would return to their original accounts. The joint checking account would divide equally. For $1,200. Half of what Elaine believed she needed for basic expenses. Tuesday brought the conclusion. Federal indictments issued, Elaine, Christopher, and 6 other Summit employees charged with operating an organized financial fraud scheme across Pennsylvania. The bail hearing revealed more. Under federal guidelines, flight risk meant no release. Elaine would remain detained pending trial. Her text from detention Tuesday evening. I never intended for it to progress this far. I finally responded. You never intended to be discovered. Wednesday, the U.S. Attorney offered plea agreements, reduced sentences for full cooperation. Elaine's choice now was 15 years or testify against Christopher and his network. I cleared out her workspace in our house that evening. Boxes of marketing materials, files, computer printouts. In the bottom drawer, I discovered a notebook with property values, assessments, a list of 15 addresses, and targets. Our house is among them. She'd planned methodically, as I would have, but for theft instead of security. Thursday afternoon, the divorce proceedings resumed. Her detention complicated everything. Your wife is willing to relinquish all marital property, her newly appointed public defender explained, in exchange for your testimony regarding her character. I've already testified about what I know, financial systems and security alerts. She's requesting personal testimony about your marriage. I considered this. I am 19 years old. The person I thought I knew, the schemes I never detected. I'll testify about what I observed. Nothing beyond that. Michael filed documents confirming the terms. House remained mine. Retirement accounts restored. Modest support rejected. Federal sentencing would render it irrelevant. Friday, I received a letter, handwritten from detention. I lost perspective in the numbers and began seeing how simple it was. Christopher said the systems could be circumvented. I believed him over you. I'm truly sorry. I placed the letter in my filing cabinet. Evidence of admission, not forgiveness. The systems I had constructed continued functioning. Automated. Impartial. Detecting crimes while marriages disintegrated. The federal trial lasted 21 days. I testified twice, first about the financial systems. Second, about my marriage. Did you ever suspect your wife's professional activities? No, I trusted her. When did that trust terminate? When my security system identified her attempting to transfer our retirement funds without authorization. The jury listened attentively. Elaine appeared smaller each day, paler. The designer attire was replaced by standard detention clothing. On day 14, Christopher Hayes accepted a plea agreement, cooperation in exchange for 9 years instead of 22. He detailed everything: marketing, budget manipulation, embezzlement, property scheme tactics, a network of executives across 4 states. Elaine coordinated it all. She maintained the records, tracked everything, ensured nothing appeared suspicious on company statements. Ironic. She learned financial diligence from observing me and applied it to criminal enterprise instead of protection. The prosecution played recorded conversations, Elaine's voice unmistakable. Marcus is too absorbed in his own systems. He'll never examine my work accounts. My wife of 19 years. Counting on my respect for boundaries to enable her crimes. Day 21 delivered the verdict. Guilty. 14 counts of wire fraud, 9 counts conspiracy. 3 counts of embezzlement. Sentencing scheduled for 8 weeks later. I exited the courthouse directly to my vehicle. No media statements, no comments. Just drove home. The security system had fulfilled its purpose. Detected the fraud. Provided evidence. Enabled justice, not vengeance, merely consequences. 3 months after sentencing, Elaine received 16 years. Christopher 11. I sold the house, $600,000 after commissions, more than sufficient to begin anew elsewhere. I maintained my Pittsburgh position at Nexus Global. Enhanced my security systems. Added features specifically designed to detect corporate embezzlement patterns. These improvements could save other organizations millions, Sophia reported. That's the intention. The divorce finalized without fanfare. No disputed issues. Elaine's guilty plea eliminated contention. I signed documents while she commenced her prison sentence. Michael called with an update. Full restitution ordered. Your retirement funds are permanently secured. I purchased a smaller residence in Cranberry Township. 1 level. Straightforward. No extra rooms to clutter. No reminders of 19 wasted years. Started teaching evening courses at Carnegie Mellon University. Financial security class once weekly. Real scenarios. Real lessons. Trust but verify, I told students. Systems protect when people cannot. Occasionally received correspondence from prison. Elaine's remorse deepened with isolation. I didn't respond. Didn't visit. Didn't forgive. Not cruelly. Just definitively. The systems operated without emotion. Algorithms. Recognizing patterns. Mathematics. Revealing truth. I learned to live similarly. For years later. Morning routine established. Simple breakfast. Market reviews. Calculated drive to work avoiding routes passing Summit Digital Group. New location. Fresh beginning. 15 families received restitution. Learned to trust cautiously. Life continued. Ordered. Systematic. Protected. The lesson endured. Betrayal happens. Theft occurs. Systems persist. And sometimes justice arrives through algorithms rather than emotions. I've made peace with that mathematical certainty.